It's quite possible that Mikel Arteta is a little stubborn and wants to do it his way, as opposed to listen to the, chatter around him. And he loves the goal by committee because then you never really know who to cover. You never know who's going to be dangerous.
He expresses that a lot in his press conferences, that he's so happy that everybody is involved. And he's a very total football type of manager.
So by most accounts, Arsenal are in the midst of a really, really good season. They're on a 12-match unbeaten streak right now in all comps, 16 set-piece goals, which is the most in Europe, and 17 goals allowed in the Premier League is tied for fewest with Liverpool. So really good, but they're still in second place, 6 points behind Liverpool. And while they're good, they could be great, which is why we are going to give them a little bit of a club makeover. Some tweaks, some recommendations, some good little music going on here. We're gonna have our hard hats on next time we do this.
The way that you said makeover, though, I'm like, listen, we're not cutting Arsenal bangs, but if we're gonna renovate.
Imagine Mikel Arteta with some bangs. Little curtain bangs.
Don't they call it fringe? Don't they call it fringe in England? They don't say bangs.
Fringe.
Yeah.
Okay. So we could call it that if we'd like. But each of you have come up with some things that you would recommend for Arsenal to level up in the new year. And kicking us off, Alexis, you have a player signing. We are going to do this segment with other clubs throughout January with the transfer window. So who is your player signing, and then what other tweak out of the box idea would you have to help Arsenal level up? Okay,
knowing that this team is rather inept when it comes to January signings, I'm going to give them a loan, and we're going to get Marcus Rashford on loan, okay? Gives you an opportunity to play the 9 if you have to, but really he's there to play on the left-hand side. Martinelli, who's seemingly starting to turn it on a little bit more in the last few weeks. He's been a little slow this season to get going. So Marcus Rashford offering that competition, maybe gets on there. Clearly Sterling, not really on the books, not really an important player. And I'm going to say Arsenal need to play with 3 at the back, and I think creating that overload in the midfield is only going to help them, especially in the attack. And I think you have the pieces to play 3 at the back when you have Calafiori on the left, you've got Gabriel Magalhaes in the middle, and you've got William Saliba playing left center back. It also allows Calafiori to get forward when Declan Rice goes further forward. I think you have more than enough pieces to play in that style. You can certainly crowd around that final third and maybe score a few more goals from the open play as opposed to on corners.
I like it. I could get on board with that.
Okay.
Nico, not a big fan.
No, yeah, I don't know how much Mikel Arteta is going to tweak tactically from one moment to the next. I think he's a man that's very true to his beliefs.
When he won the FA Cup, he played 3 at the back.
Yeah.
But
I think though, out of necessity, we have seen him lean that way. We just need something to push him over the other side, and I think that could very well be Saka being out for 2 months or so. But yeah, we could talk a bit about my tweaks.
Oh yeah, get right into it.
I'm like, no, it's important. It's me. Give me. So I think obviously we've talked about this all season. We need another consistent goal scorer. Now, I say another because my hopes are high for Gabby. However, with that being said, and if I shop this man one more time, I expect a cut of his profits because I have done this once before. I'm still rooting for Jonathan David from Lille. Jonathan David, the Canadian out of Lille.
You've done this with Jonathan David before. I thought you shopped another player and you got a cut. You got an Agent
Cupo? I am a shrewd businesswoman. No, I have mentioned Jonathan David once before on Morning Footy because you can get him on a free, and I think that'd be an opportunity for Arsenal, especially since they should be watching their dollars right now at this point. With that being said, he's a consistent goal scorer. His XG to shots are ridiculous.
Don't tell Charlie Davies.
I know. Sorry, Charlie. I mean, it is what
Charlie
it is.
He's
good on and off the ball. He's really smart at making those runs in behind. And the other thing that they're missing without a Saka figure is somebody that's got really good ball carrying capabilities. A lot of his goals do come from within the 18-yard box. He's not afraid of going in on them with 1v1s. I think that he could add another razor-sharp edge to Arsenal's attack, and they're very much going to need it. I do agree with Alexis, though, with some tweaks tactically. I think that if they try on maybe like a 3-4-3, that could benefit them greatly. But I am also keeping an eye on another Saka fix, which we just saw with Nwaneri out on that right wing. I think that his link up with Gabby looks really, really good. Again, you could be like, oh, that bird is mad, or whatever my blokes would say. But yes, he's 17 years old, but I think he shows so much promise that we could potentially see him in that right wing position starting going forward.
So you feel completely confident then that Nwaneri alone is the answer? Because to me, You've got Jesus scoring right now. You've got Kai Havertz scoring right now. The need still appears to be.
You're not going to clip me saying that. No, I think that he's part of a solution. I think that Gabby stepping up in a lot of ways will be a great fix to Saka being absent. That also, borrowing some creativity from Odegaard in the midfield will also help plug that fix. But there is no one-to-one replacement for Saka on this squad right now.
Okay. What do you guys think? Are you still of the belief that the biggest need, I mean, based on your pick of Marcus Rashford, that a striker is by far the biggest need that Arsenal have in January?
Until we see Gabriel Jesus be consistent, he's a striker, a consistent striker, or a pure 9 is always going to be a need for Arsenal. It's been for a couple of seasons, and they haven't.
So then why haven't they done it?
Money. For those just listening instead of watching.
And also just like reprioritizing other positions. Like they needed a left back. They needed to figure out some other things. But again, to my suggestion, a free. Get him on a free.
And it is possible. It's quite possible that Mikel Arteta is a little stubborn and wants to do it his way, as opposed to listen to the chatter around him. And he loves the goal by committee because then you never really know who to cover. You never know who's going to be dangerous.
He expresses that a lot in his press conferences, that he's so happy that everybody is involved. He's a very total football type of manager, with the tactical adjustments, with the left backs playing into midfield and creating that numerical superiority where you're able to have the ball, where you can counter-press and win it back very quickly. He's very true to the way he plays, and I don't know if he's going to tinker so much with his formation. Yeah, you said he won that FA Cup playing with three in the back. That was 5 years ago. So it could be experimental, and maybe in this time he's forced to make an experimental change to see if it works out. I'd welcome that. I want to see him make those type of adjustments to give us something different, to make it a different hue. So on all of these notes, I also think the striker position, have a guy that can give you a lot of those goals. If they can just break the piggy bank and go all out, sign that one guy that you need. I know it's much easier than said to get it done, but listen, Viktor Gyokeres is that guy that all of Europe is almost like salivating at the mouth for, and I think he could potentially fulfill that goal-scoring quota that you would need. That does take you to the next level, especially when Saka is not there. I'm salivating at the mouth so much, I'm choking up talking about Viktor Gyokeres.
You're thinking about the banana bread that we got waiting for us at the end of this episode.
And then finally, Miles Lewis-Kelly, Calafiori are playing the very Arteta way. The left back popping into the midfield. I'd like to see Arteta play with the left back to just get something down the wing in a second half, to just give me something different. That's all I want to see, right? We had Tierney in that one game against Crystal Palace, gave it to. He's obviously seemingly not going to play for Arsenal anymore.
Which kind of leads you to believe maybe Mikel Arteta doesn't want to, and just runs up and down the flanks.
Right, so this is what when we were tasked with something out of the box. Mikel Arteta is a constantly out of the box type of thinker. He wants to be innovative. So I'm trying to go back into the box, just not play with a left back that goes up and down from the very start, and that's going to be your left back by trade, to give you something different. And you think of a Nuno Tavares who's on loan at Lazio, and Lazio has an option to buy afterwards. It seems like, that guy would have been really good as a potential just game changer to mix things up. You speak about tones and hues that Arsenal can bring to the table instead of just making it red.
I believe it's an obligation to buy, by the way.
Okay, then obligation to buy.
Maybe we could check that.
For cheap, and that's a guy that Arsenal.
And Lazio are notoriously shrewd, so I don't know that they're going to come through with that. They don't like paying money out.
Yeah, but it's a very cheap.
It's an obligation to buy 9.5 million.
9.5 million. That's not that much for a left back that has revolutionized
I like where your head's at with
it. But Tavares has slowed down since late October. He was putting up incredible numbers, and then it's kind of.
But I do think that he's more pure defender.
In his locker.
I think that's a good shout, though, because what I will say is, I like Miles Lewis-Kelly. He's great, but I think that he contributes more to the attack rather than the defense. Defensively, Calafiori is better, just statistically, if we run the numbers.
Right.
I think that's
great.
But
he also likes getting up, and he also likes popping into the midfield.
I like that build from the back up and the contributions there. I just think that they need to find more depth in that left back role that is more defensive leaning than, say, the youth of MLS.
If they're willing to let Kieran Tierney sit on the bench and rot or walk after this year, that leads me to believe that's not in their plans. And they want someone who can cut in.